Hi everybody, I'm Jody Berland. I'm going to moderate the panel today if I can see. And we have 4 speakers, but first I'm going to say a little bit about Mcluhan and a little bit about Topia and a little bit about the panelists. And I will thank our volunteers in various offices. And I was going to do so slowly so that Gary could get here, but he's already here, so I'll do it fast. My thoughts on Marshall Mcluhan. One thing I want to say about the ground rules for today, you can argue, but you can't shoot anybody. Marshall Mcluhan was a brilliant and intuitive but prevaricative thinker. His ideas were too exuberant, too prescient, and too complex to lead to any socially consistent worldview. It is as logical as it is disconcerting, then, to see his work taken up by a wide range of social groups, including transnational corporations, management gurus, .com impresarios, computer nerds, technocrats, public relations and communication consultants, graduate students, and scholars like those we present today. If you want to make an argument about technology, communication, and culture, about technology and society, about technology and the future, you can find in his writing support for a wide range of points of view. Technology will lead to the democratization of communication, the decentering of political power, the obsolescence of the human body, the obsolescence of the book, the wired society, the neurological paralysis of the population, the ascendance of the artist, the liberation of images from art, and so on. Settling into Mcluhan's rhetorical landscapes, you can argue convincingly that all of these are proven true and that all of them are interesting. This is enough to make a scholar scream. But when my students look restless and say that Mcluhan's writing is over the top, I jump to his defense. I explain that our own skeptical and canny outlook is thoroughly indebted to his out-there contributions, whether we are aware of this or not, that we need Mcluhan's insight into the world 40 years ago to understand the world today, and that it is a remarkably productive challenge to explore his ideas from the vantage point of cultural studies and communication studies as these have developed since his lifetime. Our panel today offers an opportunity to hear contemporary scholars talk about the trajectories of Mcluhan's writing in their own research on communications and culture. The panel is co-sponsored by Topia, Canadian Journal of Cultural Studies, and the Mcluhan Festival. And as editor of the journal, I'm proud to note that our 4 speakers are all members of the editorial board of the journal Topia. It is a great pleasure to welcome them today and to welcome you as listeners and participants to this panel, which, once recorded, will also inaugurate eTopia, the new interactive portion of the Topia website. Our intellectual history and geopolitics put us in an interesting situation when we discuss Mcluhan's legacy. Mcluhan's work is part of our local history. His performance is part of local legend west of the Rio Grande. We know where he worked, where he lived, and where he taught. We embrace him as a foundational contributor to what we call the Canadian school in communication theory. Yet Mcluhan emphasized how much the mediation of our experience via the electronic media is central to the constitution of our social space and personal knowledge. In his teletopography, our neighborhoods are more or less irrelevant. Our neighborhood or village is the planet as it comes to us on our TV screens or through the internet. Since these are even more potent insights today than they were 30 or 40 years ago, we cannot consign his work to the dusty bins of nostalgia or local legend, however local he might be. Yet there is something local about this influence. We see this in the way that we reference Mcluhan and in us in our work, and more fundamentally acknowledge their influence on our own critical and analytical dispositions. Canadian scholarship is more savvy about technological change, more attentive to the ontological and perceptual spaces of specific media, rather than focusing on analyzing their contents as worthy or unworthy representation brought to us through transparent or insignificant forms. And it is certainly more concerned about the social and political repercussions of changing media forms and structures than what we find in cultural and communication studies in other countries. This is because we are indebted to thinkers like Harold Innis and Marshall Mcluhan, if there can be said to be thinkers like Mcluhan, I think not, who were simultaneously local and global in their contribution. This brings us to Topia, Canadian Journal of Cultural Studies, first launched in 1997 and now published twice a year through York University and Wilfrid Laurier University and University College of Cape Breton Press. Somebody asked me a little while ago why the journal wasn't online, and I invited questions during the discussion period so we can discuss the various technological, social, and electronic mediations of knowledge in this country and the politics surrounding that. But in the meantime, Blah, blah, blah. Topia brings together scholars in communications and media studies, film and music, fine arts, science and technology studies, post-colonial theory, environmental studies, sociology, philosophy, urban studies, and education. I don't do probes, I do lists, which together are developing some unique Canadian strain of cultural studies that is relevant and accessible to an international audience. The value of the project is confirmed in our current issue on technology and culture, Topia number 11, co-edited by Bob Hanka, Gary Janosko, and myself. Initially, this issue was conceived as a means to collaborate with the Mcluhan International Festival, which was originally scheduled to occur last year, but was temporarily SARS'd. The technology and culture issue covers a range of critical themes, from the creative industries debate to jet culture, from the spatial transformation of digital offices to contemporary ecological arts generated by satellite. Our fall 2004 issue, now in press, entitled Images, Memories, and Properties, features a number of articles addressing race, memory, and the politics of representation. So you can all take a look at the journal and our website, which will soon be launching Topia, an interactive site for critical, cultural, and media studies in which hopefully some of you will participate. So before I introduce the panel, I just want to thank some people on behalf of Topia. I want to thank York University's Faculty of Arts, Dean Drummond, and the Graduate Program in Communication and Culture. I especially want to thank our wonderful assistants and volunteers, including Suzanne Grossman, Matt Flisfider, Kelly Bronson, Naomi Fraser, Jennifer Robinson, and especially webmaker extraordinaire Roberta Buiani and Bob Hanka for doing the administration and organization for today. And last but not least, our sound person, DJ Lewis Kay, and today's video chronicler, Stephen Schnorr. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce the speakers. Everybody will talk, and then we'll do discussion at the end, questions, arguments, debates. I guess we'll go with the original order, which would have Robert Babe speaking first on Innes and Mcluhan environmentalists. And Robert Babe is the first holder of the Jean Monty BCE Chair in Media Studies at the University of Western Ontario. He's the author of Canadian Communication Thought, 10 Foundational Writers, Telecommunications in Canada, and Communication and the Transformation of Economics. He just finished a book manuscript entitled Cultural Ecology, and it's been particularly interesting and great to see his ideas and his work on that unfold in the journal, as well as other places. The next speaker is Bob Hanka, who is speaking on, Mcluhan and Speed in the Age of Digital Reproduction. Bob Hanka's work on Mcluhan will appear in Gary Janosko's edited massive volume, Marshall Mcluhan, Critical Evaluations in Cultural Theory, forthcoming from Routledge in 2005, and in Grossweiler's Transforming Mcluhan, Critical, Cultural, and Postmodern Perspectives. He has recently written on the political economy of indie media practice in the Canadian Journal of Communication and co-edited Topia 11, the theme issue on culture and technology. He is a co-founding member of CAMERA. This is not that camera, but this camera, Committee on Alternative Media Experimentation, Research, and Analysis. CAMERA's first pilot video project is tentatively titled Understanding Media Politics. And our next speaker is Gary Janosko, Canada Research Chair in Technoculture at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay. He recently edited the 3-volume collection Marshall Mcluhan, Critical Evaluations and Cultural Theory, forthcoming from Routledge. He's editor of the Semiotic Review of Books and co-editor of the special issue on technology and culture for Topia, Canadian Journal of Cultural Studies. His book, Mcluhan and Baudrillard, The Masters of Implosion, is, it's an e-book. E-book?
It's a regular book.
Oh, it's a regular book. Mcluhan and Baudrillard, The Masters of Implosion is available from Taylor and Francis. And last but never least, Janine Marchessault is a Canada Research Chair in Art, Digital Media, and Globalization at York University. I didn't mention the title of her talk, Mcluhan and the Death of Art. She is Canada Research Chair in Art, Digital Media, and Globalization at York University, where she is Associate Professor in the Department of Film and Video. She has recently completed a book on Marshall Mcluhan, Cosmic Media, 2004, from Sage. She is a founding editor of the journal Public, which you can see over here, and has co-edited numerous anthologies, including Wild Science, Reading Medicine, Feminism, and the Media, with Kim Sawchuk, Gendering the Nation, Canadian Women's Cinema with Kay Armitage Cass-Banning and Brenda Longfellow, and Fluid Screens, Digital Aesthetics and Intermedia, forthcoming with Susan Lord. So I welcome you all once again. I thank the distinguished panel for joining us, and I invite our first speaker.